Alexa, stop. It's 12:01. Oh, I got to get started. Good morning. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. Are we on? Can you hear me?
Hi, Professor.
Good morning. Good morning. Can
Good
everybody?
morning. Hi.
Can everybody hear me? I have Khadija.
Yes, I can hear you.
Naza, and I don't know who that is yet, but well, anyway, we'll get started. I realize I'm about a minute or two behind schedule, but good to see you. It's good to see you. And I'm sure we'll get some more folks coming in. There's one more, Kelsey. I'll let her Kelsey in as well. Hello, Kelsey. Good morning. Oh, do I have to unmute you? Do I have to unmute you? And Rosa is. Unmute. And, oh, I'm trying to change this. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to get started, and I appreciate you being here. And I'm sure we're going to have some people dropping by. What I will do for the hour, I'm going to talk a little bit about the two movies or videos, if you will, and we'll get. And then if you hang around, if you have any questions, I'll answer everybody's question as we go along. I appreciate that you have muted yourself, but you, from time to time, if you want to ask a question, down the left-hand bottom, there's the red microphone with a line through it. Just click that, and you should be able to say hi and ask your question. Okay.
Hey, Professor. It's me, Amadou.
Amadou.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Good that you're here. And I see Rosemary's here as well. Justin, Kelsey, Rosa, and again, Khadija and Naza. Naza, are you on your break or something like that at the moment?
Yes, as usual. Actually, I'm working, but it's fine. I'll be here for some time, and then I'll leave.
Okay. I'm gonna get started talking about the two movies that everybody can hear me, right? We're all good? Okay, good. I was very, very busy the past couple of days, and if you got my email last night or you looked at it this morning, telling you that I produced six mini lectures in the past couple of days, and changing shirts and ties a couple of times as well, just to keep you on the ball. Hopefully you noticed that it wasn't the same tie, the same shirt. And they were all three of those ties, by the way, are all Declaration of Independence specific. So, but anyway, it's a very interesting period of time. At least I think so. I really have always been interested in the time period that is the American Revolution and the founding and the separation of the United States of America from the King and Great Britain. Specifically, the document that we call the Declaration of Independence, that was written specifically by Thomas Jefferson, but the committee, as I told you, was Dr. Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston, who was from New York, by the way. Those five said that, or the other four said Jefferson, who didn't speak very much. He did not speak in the Second Continental Congress almost at all. So when he was chosen for his pen, not the physical pen, but the ability to write. And boy, does he write! He writes a document. The document, as I told you, was a document that has gone down through the ages. You do not have to be a citizen of the United States or a person connected personally to the United States of America to know about the the words of the Declaration of Independence, and um, because it's our philosophy. It's what we believe in as a people, and it's very easy to look at it and be very cynical about what it says and what it doesn't say. But it has come down through the ages, like I said. Let me talk first about episode 2 of John Adams, and let me just get my notes here for a second. Hopefully, you have found at least references to and summaries of this miniseries that HBO put out a few years ago called John Adams. As I've said before, I really love the series because they took great pains to give you a picture of what life was like in the late 1700s. So it's specifically, in this case, the life of John Adams. Okay, his adult life. Episode 1, he's a fledgling lawyer, a Harvard graduate, a family man, who owns a farm outside of Boston and has a law practice in the city of Boston itself. In the first episode you saw, his law practice was right in his home. This was a common practice if you were a doctor or a lawyer. Your townhouse, half your townhouse might be your office where you conducted business, and the other half would be your living quarters for you and your family. You saw where John Adams has his office, and on the other side of the entranceway in the parlor over there, there was Abigail Adams, his wife. And I will stop here just for a second because one of the stars of the series John Adams is his wife and friend, lifelong friend, Abigail Adams. Let me just admit people. And if everybody can hang around until I'm finished, I'll make sure that I get everybody's attendance. Of course, if you have to drop out, let me know, and I'll stop for a second, and because I want to make sure that I get your attendance. Okay. But going back, I want to go back to Abigail Adams because all the episodes of John Adams, she is predominant. Jada, I'll talk about that, and you can ask. The second part of this is going to be like an office hour, so I'll handle all the questions and make sure that you get an answer before you go. Okay, but again, in a time when women, for centuries, women even in the enlightened colonies and the United States of America, women, as you know, were second-class citizens, third-class citizens. They were regarded not much more than legal slaves. Okay, that didn't mean that every male treated every female that way, but in private, Abigail and John Adams were equal. Okay, she was his match, his mate, his friend, his lifelong friend, as I said, and but she knew, if you want to use the phrase, she knew her place. She would never publicly outface her husband, but when it came time to the privacy of their own home, Abigail was his confidant and his worst, I should say, his best critic. She let John Adams know exactly where to get off and where he was wrong. You see in episode 1 where she is homeschooling the children. Okay, that was a common practice. if you had someone, if your spouse, your wife, was literate, educated, then your children were certainly going to at least get some kind of education. Due to the fact that John Adams himself is a Harvard graduate, the children were going to be, there was a lot expected of them, okay? Including the oldest, who is John Quincy Adams, John Q. Adams, who becomes the 6th president of the United States, and as well as a statesman of great renown. Historically, he's and we'll encounter John Quincy Adams, the son of John and Abigail, soon, okay, in our story. But again, continuing with Abigail for a few moments. Abigail is a representation of probably more women than we know, but certainly not every woman. You'll see if you watch some of the series, I hope you do. You'll see when Thomas Jefferson, who's a bit of a cat man, okay, he thinks of himself as a ladies' man and probably lived up to it in some ways. But Thomas Jefferson is infatuated with Abigail Adams. I mean, is she a Southern belle in all the grandeur of gowns and makeup and hair and everything else? No. She certainly is what might be called handsome. She's a handsome woman, and the actress Laura Linney does a great job. But Abigail Adams is infatuating because inside and out, she's wonderful. She's brilliant, smart, articulate, has a sense of humor, and she can, as I said, she can be as critical as can be, and she really does. If the founders are all men, right behind them and equal to them would be a woman like Abigail Adams. She's one of the founders of the United States just as much as any of them. So anyway, but episode 2 deals with the Second Continental Congress. We're introduced to Benjamin Franklin from Pennsylvania. We're introduced to Thomas Jefferson down in Philadelphia, and we're introduced to the other founders and signers of the Declaration of Independence. You get the story of how the Declaration was written, and I talked about that. The compromises that had to be made. Okay, and let me just open up the waiting room here, please, and let everybody else in. Come on in. Come on in. Okay. And so you're going to see the that story, and that's what history is our stories. Hopefully they're true stories. Sometimes they're fables, sometimes they're myths. But this series, John Adams tries to do away with some of the myths and really gives you a lot of content, a lot of an ability to see how people lived their lives back in the 1770s, okay? And how these real people, the Jeffersons, the Adams, the Franklins, the Livingstons, et cetera, how all these people were real, okay? And not demigods, as Franklin says, or they're not statues. They're not oil paintings. They're real flesh and blood people with their flaws and as they would say, warts and all. But you can see what's going on in Philadelphia. You can see that these men they are more elite than not, especially the Southerners. The Southerners are coming in, and they're all plantation owners. And by being plantation owners, they're also enslavers of human beings, enslavers of Africans and African Americans. Some better than others, but anybody that held slaves cannot morally stand up and say, I'm a good person. But they were the elite, they were the rich, and they had the ability to take the time to go to Philadelphia. I'm not saying they didn't sacrifice; they certainly did. Okay, and many of the founders, the signers of the Declaration of Independence, sacrificed very, very much. Okay, and human sacrifice, and as well as property and otherwise. You see somebody like a man named John Dickinson. Okay, John Dickinson from Pennsylvania is a Quaker. I don't know. We didn't talk too much about Pennsylvania or Quakers, but the colony of Pennsylvania was founded by a man named William Penn. Not Sean Penn, Penn, William Penn. Now, William Penn was a huge figure in the Quaker religion. And the Quaker religion is based upon pacifism. They did not believe in war. Okay? Now, John Dickinson, a prominent, elite, educated Pennsylvanian, is part of the delegation along with Dr. Benjamin Franklin. And John Dickinson is very intelligent and understands the arguments against the king and the arguments for breaking away from the king. But John Dickinson does not believe that we should actually do that. He wants us, and he wants himself to remain loyal to the king. We get to know Dr. Franklin very well, a Renaissance man himself, a most amazing man. When I say a Renaissance man, what I mean is a Renaissance man is a person who has a lot of interests and does a lot of things well. Okay, and certainly Dr. Franklin, by the time he is in Philadelphia, I mean, he lives in Philadelphia, so that's his home base. So him coming to the Second Continental Congress is going to be the hometown boy, if you will. But he's world renowned. He's already known in France because he played an ambassadorial role, and he will again. But he's also known throughout the colonies. He's a publisher of various newspapers and magazines. Something called Poor Richard's Almanac was his creation, and it's very well written, of course, but it was very light, very easy, something that people would enjoy buying and reading and catching up on things, and there are jokes in there, all kinds of stuff. It was like a popular magazine at the time. Benjamin Franklin was very well known. But we also get to see John Adams in action. And John Adams is incredibly smart, and he knows it. He's an arrogant SOB, and he knows it. Because when Abigail gets a hold of him, she tells him. Okay? She tells him to just knock it off, calm yourself down, act like, a little bit more humble than you do. We know a lot of this to be true. The series is very historically accurate because I should have mentioned this before, but John and Abigail Adams corresponded with one another on a daily basis. What do I mean by that? They wrote each other letters every day. Even during the American Revolution, when things could not be passed back and forth, these letters were collected, and actually George Washington, General Washington, delivers a packet of letters to Abigail from John Adams up in Boston. And their letters are sometimes heartwarming, sometimes heartbreaking. And we do get to see, in episode 2, we get to see Abigail Adams. No problem being late. We're all here. But please, again, please don't leave until I know that you can hear. And please hang around after I talk about these things. I'll take questions and answers to make sure that everybody's up to snuff. These letters give us an idea of what common life was like in the colonies, because we get to know Abigail Adams very well. Abigail is back at the farm. Okay, the farm is called Peacefield, but it's in the town of Braintree, Massachusetts, which is a suburb today of Boston. Okay, Braintree. It's a strange name, but they owned the farm. It was a working farm. It had some cows, it had chickens, and they grew crops. Okay, and it's tough. It's a tough way to go. And Abigail manages the farm, manages to keep the farm productive, and at the same time, they're running through the colonies like it was running through Europe was a smallpox epidemic. Coincidentally enough, if you watch episode 2 of John Adams, you will see what a pandemic, the smallpox pandemic, okay? Smallpox being contracted from cattle, okay? From cows and horses and things like that. Mostly cows, I think. And it went through Europe, and it came across the ocean, and it came to the colonies. And in episode 2 of John Adams, you see what it's like. You see all the children. You see Abigail. They have these pock marks on their faces or on their skin. And you see one of the local doctors. You see what medicine is like in 1770. It's primitive. I mean, it's really what they called doctors back then, medical doctors back then. Man, that's pretty rough stuff. It's barbaric what they would do. In a later episode of when the children are grown, John and Abigail Adams' daughter contracts breast cancer, and you don't see it graphically done, but it's insinuated that she is going to have a mastectomy. And you can imagine in 1770, without anesthesia, without any kind of antibiotics or anything else, that was very, very primitive and barbaric. But they knew what they knew. In the 1700s and going into the 1800s, what they knew about medicine, they practiced, okay? What they did know is, coming from Europe, that there was such things as inoculations, as vaccinations. Inoculation. And so in episode 2, you see the doctor coming to the farmhouse of the Adams family and inoculating Abigail and the children. While John Adams is in Philadelphia wrestling with the Declaration of Independence, you have Abigail Adams at home and treating the children and herself, while all of them have some various stages of smallpox. And what inoculation was, folks, is basically taking the live pox, the stuff from a pox wound, from somebody else. And there's some poor slob outside the farmhouse lying in a cart dying. And the doctor goes over and scrapes some of this stuff off and puts it on a dish, goes inside, cuts each one of the Adamses and with a small cut so that it will bleed. And he just basically slathers on some of this, pardon me, but pus. And this way you're giving them the the antidote, if you will, of you're vaccinating them with the live pox. And we know that today that is exactly what we get when we get inoculated for various measles and chickenpox and the like. Okay, you get some of the stuff itself that's making people sick, and you inject it into the body. But again, back in 1776, it looks rather primitive, sounds rather primitive, and it was very primitive and barbaric, but it worked. Okay, the Adamses do live through the smallpox pandemic. Anyway, but please get a hold of the series if you can. If you can't afford it, go to the YouTube and watch the excerpts. There are small pieces, 3-5 minute pieces of the various episodes. But this is episode 2 that goes along with the writing number 5. Now, when I specifically spoke about the Declaration of Independence, I went into a lot of detail, and therefore, what I'm going to do is this. I've done this in the past. I'm gonna assign, and it's not mandatory. Okay, certainly not mandatory, but I'm gonna assign a writing. I'm going to call it 5X because it's related to the American Revolution, but it's going to be specifically about the Declaration of Independence. Okay, and I will post that and I will explain that, and I'll make it due a week from tomorrow. Okay, 5X will be specifically about the Declaration of Independence. So those 3 mini lectures that are, I think that, yeah, 3. The 3 mini lectures that that I specifically spoke about the Declaration of Independence, the document itself. You can summarize those and put them into a separate writing. If you repeat yourself between 5 and 5, if you want to do both, fine. If you want to choose 5 and not do 5X, or choose 5X and not do 5, perfectly fine. If you think you've done enough writings for the moment and you want to skip 1 or 2, again, you should, in answer to somebody's question a while ago and answering it again, you should do 6 writings, but at this point in time, if you're at 6 or you're at 5, just keep going. You do as many as you can, but if you pass 6, I would say that if you can keep going and do 1 or 2 more, that's going to mean that you're going to add 5 or 10 final grade points. You could jump literally from a B to an A, or a C to a B, or a C plus. You get the idea. By just doing two more writings and getting satisfactory on any one of them, not even getting excellence or anything like that. But by the way, I am getting a lot of good writings from you. The people that are doing them are doing a very, very good job. So 5X is specifically about the Declaration of Independence. And so for the next couple of minutes, I want to talk about a movie, a Hollywood movie called called 1776. Again, let me get to, I'll get to questions regarding, specific, your situation. As soon as let me talk about 1776 for a few minutes, okay? And finish up with this assignment 5X, and then I'll answer specific questions. In 1976, where the only person on this chat alive then is me, not you. But in 1976, we celebrated the 200th anniversary of America. Okay, July 4th, 1976 was the 200th anniversary of the signing and of the Declaration of Independence. Okay, that's our birthday.
I'm sorry, Professor Ryan?
Yes, hello.
It's Sheena. I'm going to have to opt out because I have another class coming in.
Very good. Okay, good, Sheena. Let me, if I might, yes, thank you. Thank you for telling me. Oh, by the way, I had a note right here. Ramadan Mubarak. Our fellow friends who are of the Islamic faith are fasting during the daylight hours, and
Thank you.
oh, you're most welcome. I'll do.
Thank you.
Ramadan Mubarak. I think I said it right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Very good.
I'll catch up on YouTube, okay?
Very good. Yes, I will post the recording on YouTube. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So 1976 is the 200th.
Professor,
Yes. Yes.
I have a class at 12:40.
And who's this, please?
I have another class at 12:40.
Yes, but I don't know who's talking right now.
Khadija.
Khadija. Okay. All right. I'll make sure that you are in the book, that you have participated with us. Okay. And
Thank you.
be sure to get back and watch the recording to see if you missed anything. Okay.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Good. Thank you for telling me, because I want to make sure that I know that everybody's here, and I'm gonna let somebody in. Okay. That looks like Danielle. So talking about the birthday of the United States, in which that's exactly what we were talking about in the past week. So in 1976, it was decided that in part of it was a massive celebration in the United States of America. There were all kinds, every city and town, they had parades, they had all kinds of celebrations, especially on July 4th. If you had lived in New York City at the time, as I did, you would have seen the most incredible celebration, Operation Sail, where these huge sailing ships came into the harbor and everything like that. Anyway, God bless whoever sneezed there. But also around this time, a musical, a Broadway musical was written called 1776. Now, the premise of a musical, but you're familiar now with Hamilton and the like, where it can be very serious subject and it can be really, really well done. Hamilton is incredible. Okay, it tells the story of America's founding from Alexander Hamilton's point of view, and we'll certainly talk about him. But back in 1976, this musical hit Broadway. It was called 1776, and it's about the story in Philadelphia and the writing of the Declaration of Independence. Now, instead of just dialogue like a play, this is a musical. So people sing songs. Okay, and that may sound silly. Okay, yes, Rosemary, Rosemary, you have a question?
Yeah, please, when are we going to close?
Okay, all right, very good. I'll make sure to get you. I won't forget you for sure. But this musical takes us through the various stages of voting for independence. And John Adams is the principal character. He, from the very beginning, he pushes he, he pushes the Continental Congress towards independence. It also shows us Thomas Jefferson and how he did not speak very much in the Congress, but how he his brilliant mind came up with the actual document of the Declaration, and it shows you the big climactic scene is when the South Carolina delegation, led by a man named Rutledge, refuses to go along and vote yes for independence until Thomas Jefferson takes his pen and scratches out the anti-slavery clause that we talked about the other day. There's not going to be an independence. There's not going to be a declaration. There's not going to be a United States of America if they leave the prohibition of slavery in the Declaration. So you have a new nation that's going to be founded on equality and freedom and brotherhood, saying that slavery is okay. How does that jive? Well, Benjamin Franklin, is the practical man who says we have to take care of one thing at a time, and the first thing is we have to take care of slavery. We have to take care of independence. We gotta win the day here. We have to have all 13 colonies say yes. Now, coming from New York, there's a funny scene where the delegation from New York, and again, you should know this already, but New York was rather loyal to the king, okay? They didn't want to break away. So the New York delegation did not know how to vote. So they kept abstaining, God bless, until the very end. And there's a man named Gouverneur Morris, not governor, but Gouverneur Morris, who's he's a rich man from New York, and he finds out that the British have burned his farm and his mansion and his family, and he's got a lot of kids. His family gets evacuated. They're all safe, but he says, well, if the British soldiers did that to me, then screw them. I'm saying yes. The important thing about the story is that it is unanimous. 13 colonies say yes. That's the start of the uniting of these colonies. The very dramatic song, there's a number of songs in it, but the dramatic song, and by the way, 1776 is available on YouTube for free. You go through all the songs one by one, you watch them, you can watch the whole thing for free. Okay, it's a very, very available and accessible. So think about doing this one because you know the story already, but the songs are very, very good. It's the original Hamilton. Okay, a very, very highly successful Broadway show, then was made into the movie in the 1970s. Okay, very well done and very historically accurate. Again, we have Abigail Adams to thank and John Adams to thank for their letters back and forth. From those letters, historians have been able to piece together the whole story about a lot of different people. Anyway, the song that you should really concentrate on is a song from 1776 called Molasses to Rum to Slaves. Okay, and it's in a waltz time, a 3/4 time, a 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And it's highly dramatic. It's sung by Mr. Rutledge from South Carolina. And basically, he's pointing the finger at Adams, at Franklin, at the Northern and New England colonies for their hypocrisy. Okay? Oh, you hate slavery, do you? Well, look around the room. You hate slavery? Every one of you are involved in slavery, the enslavement of human beings here. And you stand there and criticize me for being a plantation owner and a slave owner and defending slavery. But you smell of hypocrisy as well. It's an incredible, incredible song. It's an incredible dramatic moment in the show. And again, molasses to rum to slaves. It's 3 points. It's a triangle. Just like the waltz music itself. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Molasses to rum to slaves. It's the triangle trade. The song is a metaphor for the triangle trade. It's in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. That's the way they conduct it. Down, across, and back up again. It's the triangle trade. Okay, and it's Rutledge, the South Carolinian, that's pointing out the hypocrisy of the northern colonies and the New England colonies, the middle colonies, criticizing the South for their enslavement of Africans. So anyway, 1776 and John Adams Part 2. John Adams Part 2 goes along with Chapter 5 of the book, and the basically all the lectures that I gave this week. But in particular, if you want to do writing 5X, you should concentrate on, and you will concentrate on, the Declaration of Independence, the movie 1776, and like I said, the lectures specifically about the Declaration. Okay. I don't know what time it is. Can somebody tell me the time? I should be able to see it, but I don't see it on my screen. Do you know what time it is right now?
12:45.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. If you want to stick around, please, so that I can answer questions, I'd like to start doing that now. Okay, one at a time. You don't mind? I think everybody's in.
Okay, can I go first?
Yes.
Okay, it's Jada.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, you did have a question almost from the very beginning. So come on in.
So this writing assignment is not due on Monday. It's the week after, right?
The writing assignment 5 that I assigned at the beginning of the week is due next Monday. Yeah, it's coming Monday. Yes.
So this is just like an extra credit assignment?
5X, as I'm going to call it. Yes. The X is, you want to think of it as extra credit. Yes. And that will be due a week from tomorrow.
Okay. Also, I sent you emails about, you graded my first writing and my last, but the 2 in between, I just want to make sure that you got it.
I thought when I did the marking, I guess, what was that, Tuesday? I thought I had gotten everybody, but if not, I'll go back and make sure. Or if it's easy enough, the ones that are marked, you want to send them to me again?
Okay.
And yeah, this way, it's right in front of me. It's right in the queue for today or tomorrow, and I'll get to it, and I won't miss it.
Okay.
So that's probably the better idea, because right now I have probably in my inbox literally 1,000 emails. I've answered a lot of them because they're assignments and things like that. But if I miss somebody, I do apologize. But I'll this way, send it to me again, and I'll make sure to take care of it. Okay.
Professor.
Yes.
I have to leave in 5 minutes for my other class. I just wanted to make sure that you got my attendance.
Who's that?
Alexa.
I know it's Alexa.
Everyone's leaving. Why?
All right. No, we know you're here. We appreciate you being here. And I do have the attendance, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Very
very-
good. Thank you. And by the way, if again, you can if you want to really fall asleep in front of a screen, you can watch this again, and I recommend it highly for falling asleep anyway. But yes, questions? Questions?
I have a question.
Okay, who's first?
Jessica.
Jessica. Okay, Jessica.
Hi. I'm confused because, like, on paper 2, you want us to watch John Adams Part 1, which is on and 1970s. The movie that they just mentioned, the Independence movie, is a musical,
Yes.
and I'm also confused. Which videos do you want to watch for the paper for the screen? Because I'm looking through the Blackboard, so I'm confused. Which
Okay.
videos?
There are two I just introduced today, and probably that's what's confusing you. I introduced writing 5X, okay? But let me go back to the writing that's due on coming up on Monday. And by the way, again, if you're having trouble with the deadlines, do them when you can and get them to me when you are able, okay? I give you deadlines, they're soft deadlines, okay? Do you understand?
Yeah.
But okay, that much. If you're having trouble meeting the deadline, get to the deadline, or get to them when you can. Get them to me when you can. Let me know that you're sending it in. But I am, to be perfectly honest, I'm not penalizing people for handing things in late. Everybody should know.
Okay. I just want to know which YouTube video, which paper 5 would be on.
Paper, just 5, not 5X. Let's go
No.
back to the one that's due on Monday.
Yeah. That one.
Okay. The lectures that I sent to you that are on YouTube that I did. Okay.
So yesterday, the yesterday lecture.
I sent you 6 of them, but you can use any and all of them for 5. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because
Yeah.
I was confused. I'm like,
I would say the ones about the battles of the American Revolution, talk about those, right? And that, and chapter 5, and the lectures. Okay.
so you want to do? Sorry, you want to do about
Oh, and John Adams Part 2. John Adams Part 2. Yes. So the lectures, chapter 5, John Adams Part 2 are the 3 things for writing number 5.
What about the part 1, Professor?
Yeah, in Blackboard you put part 1.
You said part 1.
Yeah, I think you did say part 1.
Yeah, I'm getting confused now.
Part 1. Part 1.
Okay.
Part 1.
And I don't know when you did a part
I was
1.
able, I was able to find an episode of John Adams about the Declaration of Independence. We used that about how Mr. Jefferson and Dr. Franklin were writing about the Declaration of Independence. We used one of those episodes too.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
okay, now I see it.
we close.
But
Okay. Okay, so then you want us to use the videos that you created, all of them, including the ones you posted yesterday.
Yes.
And then you want
well,
chapter.
the ones, there were 6 of them that I posted yesterday.
Okay.
Those are the ones. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then chapter 5, and then Part 1, John Adams Part 1.
Yes.
Ben, what title should we use? The Independence, right?
But now you just said part 2. Which one?
Part 1.
God bless.
Excuse me, Professor. I'm a little confused myself because is it part 1 that we're doing or part 2? Part 1.
I don't have it in front of me, so hold on. Can you just give me 1 second? Let me look through things.
The email said part 1. That's what
Do you have my email in front of you? If you could read it to me, because I can't get to
yes.
that. All right, everybody listen and
Yeah.
please read it. Thank you. If you have it.
It's It said writing. Oh, I'm writing different. Sorry, I'm reading from different assignments.
It says your 5th writing, which must discuss your viewing of HBO John Adams. It says part 1 and portions of the film 70-76.
Okay. Just John Adams Part 1, Chapter 5, and the lectures that I sent you. Okay.
Then, Professor, I think you should rewrite the email again, because all of us thinking the same thing. Because I'm thinking that we have to write the movie of 1776 and John Adams and the lectures and read the book and write the essay.
Yeah.
I will, as soon as I get off here, I will send you a clarification on what I want for 5, writing number 5. Okay. And then I will send something completely separate about this extra credit 5X. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I promise you. I'm sorry about the confusion, and I'll make sure that we fix
that. That movie is too long to watch and watch the John Adams.
Yeah,
like,
the movie I wasn't able to find.
It's not.
76. I wasn't sure whether or not if it's a musical or something else.
We're talking about, I think, 2 different things. John Adams is a 7-part miniseries, 7 hours. I'm talking about hour number 1, episode number 1. It's called Join or Die. Okay. But it's from HBO, and they ran it over 7 nights, 7 separate nights. But we're dealing with part 1, okay, and then part 2, and I think there's 2 other parts that I'm going to use in the next 2 weeks. Okay. Again, let me clarify this fully before we go any further. I will send you I'll post it again, clarifying what 5 is supposed to look like. All right, and again, if you can't get it into by Monday night, Tuesday's fine as well. All right. Will that help people? Is there any other questions that I can answer besides that?
Professor, I sent you my essay too late because I took another person's email and I sent them the essay since the day due.
You sent somebody else the essay instead of me?
Yeah. And
okay.
then I looked through my email. I didn't see your comments.
Well,
and after that, I'm like, let me see what
did they give you as a grade?
I sent it to my professor.
Don't do that.
They didn't even respond to me.
They did not? No. Okay.
They did not respond. I was like, let me see, because the writing 5 is already due, and then I didn't get my grade back. And I look at it, it was a different email.
All right. Don't do that. unless you know somebody else that wants to mark these for me. Sometimes I wouldn't be too unhappy about somebody else doing the marking for me. But I'm actually, God bless, I'm probably a better marker than other people.
Excuse me, Professor, but I have to leave now.
Okay, we will see you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Bye.
All right. Again, does anybody have the time in front of them? 'Cause my screen doesn't have it.
12:58, Professor.
All right. We don't have to sign off unless you need to go. But tell me, any other questions besides about writing number 5, which I will fix.
So
right?
for
Okay.
the movie 1776, I wasn't sure if it's a musical
It
or
is.
a 1972. Is it a musical?
It's a musical. Yes. It's
Okay.
the people that Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton when he was a boy, saw 1776 and he was inspired by that. But it's not, obviously it's not a rap musical because it's written in the 1970s. But it's a musical. But the songs are not, some of them are silly, but at the same time, they all are factual. And like I said, if you concentrate on the song towards the end of the show, it's called Molasses to Rum to Slaves. That is that's the climactic scene of the movie, because it's they're going to decide whether or not to include a prohibition of slavery in the Declaration of Independence. They're going to abolish slavery before
Yeah, that's the basic understanding I got from the movie.
Yes.
It's basically about how the British wants to abolish slavery. That's what I put in for my summary.
But the southern colonies are not going to allow that to happen. So they're not going to vote for independence unless the slavery clause is removed. And if they remove the slavery clause, then they look like a bunch of schmoes, because they're saying all men are created equal, but slaves aren't equal to other human beings. So, but that's the conclusion that they reach. But you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. All the songs are on YouTube for free. But if you're going to concentrate on one song from that musical, it's Molasses to Rum to Slaves. Okay.
Yeah.
And John Adams is an HBO miniseries.
Yeah, I was able to find that. I found an episode on how Dr. Franklin and Mr. Jefferson and John Adams, all three of them are writing Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, that's episode 2.
That was episode 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll all come out later. But let me make sure.
Yeah, because
No, all right. Anybody else have any other questions that besides just writing number 5? Because I will I'll clarify writing number 5. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, Rosemary.
My question is, so it should be basically it should be on independence of, right? Like it should be depend on I forgot, the revolution and independence. Like chapter 5 should be the main points, right?
Chapter 5. Writing number 5, chapter 5 in the book.
I know that, but I want to know the main one. That one should be the main idea, right?
Let me rewrite my assignment for 5. Okay, I will make sure that it's very, very clear. All right, to make sure that everybody. Okay, this way, so I can get off. I'll take another look at everything and make sure that I'm not leading you the wrong way. Okay.
All right.
So look at my email a little bit later today, please.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I have a point of concern. So, it's like I I was just trying to like find the movie and everything. Now you say you're gonna clarify it. So I finished my writing yesterday. I basically tried, like I said before, my basic understanding of the movie was the British trying to abolish slavery, like he did, and also, but however, the South people in the South won't allow it. And then I put in the episode for John Adams, basically being about how Dr. Franklin and Mr. Jefferson and John Adams are trying to write the Declaration of Independence. I put some quotes in from the episode and I wrote them down, and also some parts from the book about the American Revolution and the war.
Yeah.
So basically, majority of the writing is is a little bit of the movie, the episode of John Adams about how they're writing Declaration of Independence, and parts bulks from the book. Is that okay for me to submit for Monday?
Sure, sure. But
Okay.
take a look at the email that I'm going to send out and make sure that it jives with what you got. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you know what? If since there's confusion, I may just tell everybody, how about Tuesday instead of Monday? An extra day. An extra day might help. And again, my deadlines are soft deadlines.
You could.
I'm trying to get you to get things into me as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so I put deadlines now simply because so that I don't get deluged all at once. But if you need extra time, you got extra time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. And
All right.
Professor, I'll just try to send you what I have for Monday, if that's okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we good, or any other questions? I'm here till you don't have any more questions. All right.
I'll email you if anything.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll email you if anything.
All right. Thank you. Good. Good.
Thank you, Professor. Bye.
All right. Take it easy. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Professor,
Yes, Amadou. Yes.
how's your wife?
Thank you. My wife is well. We have a date every day around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She drives from the hospital to the house. I give her some dinner or the newspapers, or we have a little conversation, and we do some FaceTiming, later on in the evening sometimes. But it's, I mean, if that's the most difficult thing that I have to go through, it's not bad.
It's hard.
There is, like I said, she is not doing clinical work, but she is in the hospital and hearing the codes being called, and as you know, the death rate in New York City is still very, very high. So we're all gonna need a little bit of help after this is all over. But I hope it's not touching you personally. But if it is, my sympathies are totally with you, and I'll try my best to not add to your troubles. I can. But thank you. That's very nice of you to ask.
No problem. She's gonna feel good. They soon gonna find the cure. So don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine.
Oh no! She's itching for the chance to get back here and boss me around. So
Yeah, that's good. That's a good sign.
It's killing her to be my son and I living on our own. But well, thank you.
No problem.
And so I will again. I'm sorry for the confusion. I will make sure that writing number 5 is clear to you, and if anybody has any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them now, or I'll just hang around and wait. All righty.
All right.
All right. Good. Who's that crying?
It's my house. Them kids always crying.
God bless them. It's great to hear. It's great to hear that. I tell you. No, that's nice. All right. Well, all right. I will talk to you very soon. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to I'll answer them in an email. But if I don't see you, I'll see you then after the weekend. Okay?
All right.
Rosemary, Kelsey, I am.
Professor, we're
Then-
done?
We can be done if you want it to be. Okay? If you have no more questions, I can.
Bye.
I think the email will explain everything, so I'm waiting for the email.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I've started my writing, I'm done with one page already.
All right.
The level 2 page.
And what? Yes. Let me get the chance to clarify and make sure.
All right.
Fine. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You guys, please take care. All right.
Bye.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Best to your families. All right.
Okay.
All right. So long.
Bye.